Hi, it's Rich Tarani here coming to you from the Supercom 2009 show in Chicago, Illinois. And today we're going to be speaking with Mark Showalter, who is the Director of Carrier Marketing for Extreme Networks. Mark, how are you?
Great. Good to be here. Thanks.
So could you give us a little bit of an overview of what your company is doing in the space?
You bet. Extreme Networks has been building Ethernet switches since the 90s. We've been a public company since 1999. For over 10 years, we've been shipping Ethernet switches around the world. We've shipped over 20 million Ethernet ports to over 50 countries around the world. Extreme has recently announced our new product, the Black Diamond 2804. We're showing here at Supercom, and we'll be taking on the road with us at a number of events. And so we're very excited to be here with you today.
Well, we're glad to have you as well here on the set. Now, a question that I have is that you're obviously in a good position to see what's happening in the world of subscriber services, and I'm sure the viewers would love to know more about that area. Can you share?
You bet. We're seeing a number of trends on the subscriber side in residential, business, and mobile backhaul services. In the residential side, we're seeing a trend of convergence from voice and DSL to triple play offered over PON or active Ethernet. In the business side of the world, we're seeing a shift from a network for every service to a convergence of multiple services over a common network, and that network is usually Ethernet based these days. Also in the mobile backhaul side of the world, we're seeing a shift from TDM to Ethernet mobile backhaul. And together we're seeing across all these residential, business, and mobile backhaul applications, the common themes are convergence, multiple applications on the same line, and the line that they're all converging on tends to be Ethernet.
So what is your company's response and the response of carriers to this changing world of services?
What we're seeing in carrier networks is a shift from circuit to packet, essentially, a shift from SONET and SDH to Ethernet, 10 gig and 100 gig Ethernet rings. And this shift to Ethernet has driven a number of changes in carrier networks. One of the key things a carrier needs now is the ability to provide a converged network that you're running all these applications. You need triple play, you need business Ethernet, you need mobile backhaul, and you need it on a shared transport network that lowers the cost of ownership. So for carriers, they're seeing the shift from circuit to packet. They're shifting from SONET to Ethernet. And one of the key things that is driving the advancement of Ethernet into metro and access rings is access protection switching. As you probably know, in the SONET world, access protection switching provided 50 millisecond recovery for failed links. So services like voice would continue to run even though there was a failure on the network. As we shift from SONET to Ethernet, we need similar technologies in the network for carriers to be able to support this sort of failover capability.
And can you talk about those?
You bet. There's two things I would talk about with regard to that. There's a new protocol out from the ITU. The International Telecommunication Union has been working on a protocol called G.8032, and it is trying to standardize a protocol for ring resiliency. And as you probably know, Extreme invented EAPS, Ethernet Automatic Protection Switching, over 7 years ago. We published it as an RFC 3619. We've had a number of other players in the market build variations of it. So there's been a demand for this sort of ring protection for some time. And as the shift from SONET to Ethernet continues, we'll see a demand for this protection capability. Extreme has an advanced version, and there's a new standard that's come out that addresses some of those capabilities as well.
Now, I heard there was also a 2010 version of that standard.
Yes. What's going to happen is the first version has been ratified already, but it only really addresses a single ring configuration. And as you look at what carriers expect with SONET, they had a stacked ring configuration where you had access rings and aggregation rings. And what G.8032 does not yet do is cover the ability to go across these rings. And so the next version of that is planned to add enhancements that enable a carrier to protect across stacked rings. This is something that Extreme's Ethernet Automatic Protection Switching does today.
Oh, that's exciting. Okay, so it sounds like you're really ahead in that space. You've got some great technology that you've been working on for years.
We've been very lucky to have been building Ethernet switches for over 10 years. And in working with carrier customers, they've been demanding all these features. And so when we brought out EAPS, they needed all these subtended ring capabilities and spatial reuse. And it's that experience with carriers that has let us be in this position today.
So we've got about 30 seconds left. I'd like to know what's in the future for your company. What will you be coming out with?
If you look to the future, I think you'll see more Ethernet. If you look at today, we're seeing a shift from 1 gig to 10 gig. And if you look out in the future, we're going to see a shift from 10 gig to 100 gig. We're also seeing a shift from reactive circuit management to proactive service management. That means that instead of just monitoring a link or a port, a carrier is actually monitoring the service and reporting on that. And so we're seeing a shift in the future for carriers in being much more service aware, much more able to let their customers know that they know what's going on before the customer calls.
Very exciting. Thanks for being on the program today.
Great to be here with you. Thanks a lot.